or departure from the current practices instead of progressive improvements within existing framework. Now we would like to know what is the difference between curriculum innovation and curriculum change. This can be easily understood from these two statements. They are quite interesting to understand that changes in the curriculum can include innovation. However, improvement in the curriculum usually require a new education method and not necessarily a method of human interaction. Whereas the second statement says that the changes in the curriculum may involve innovation, but a curriculum reform includes adoption or adopting a new education method and not necessarily a method of human contact. And what is curriculum reform? It is a process of curriculum change in education institutions involving an interplay of global, national, and institutional factors. Generally, it takes many forms and directions in which the meaning and the method of the education delivery as altered. Now, what is the role of innovation in education? This is something very important to understand, that innovation in education encourages teachers as well as students to explore, research, and use all tools to uncover something new. It involves a different way of looking at problems and solving them. The thinking process that goes into it will help students develop their creativity and their problem-solving skills. The application of project-based learning is another approach for spurring innovation and creative thinking instead of working on a single project in a mathematics class. That can be the project-based learning combines multiple disciplines in one project. It promotes active and deeper learning. Now, before we proceed further and discuss our rest of the presentation, a most important question which we need to think here is how to design a great curriculum. That can be designed with the effectiveness of professional development, depends on how carefully educators conceive, plan, and implement it. Now we'll talk about how we are going to design the Indian curriculum. How can we increase effectiveness of the technology as well in Indian curriculum schools by focusing on the innovation along with it? Before we discuss that how we are going to plan, we would like to understand what are the qualities of effective curriculum. The effective curriculum can be labeled as effective when it is very well balanced, when it is not at all overloaded, it is quite flexible, and it is showing progression, and it is progressing with time. And the main focus is student-centered, and the focus is mainly on learning so that we do not deviate from our main attention. Now comes the design 6-dimension considerations. This is something very important to understand. If we know what are the dimensions of designing a curriculum, then we can design a better curriculum. Scope. Under scope, it does not only refer to the cognitive content, but also affecting and psychomotor. All the content like topic, learning experience, organizing threads comprising the educational plan, etc. That comes under the scope. When we say the sequence is a particular order in which related events, movements, things follow each other. The vertical relationship among the elements to provide continuous and cumulative learning. Contents and the experiences are arranged in a hierarchical manner where the basis can either be logic of the subject matter or on the development pattern of growth of the cognitive, affective, and psychomotor domains. What is continuity? This is something which is very important to understand, that this is a very important dimension to understand that the continuity, the vertical repetition, and the recurring appearances of the content provide continuity in the curriculum. This process enables the learner to strengthen the permanency of the learning and the development of skills. Next is the integrity or the integration. Any curriculum, the integration is something which is very important so that the subjects, they do not, or the subject matter do not overlap. Everything is integrated and interconnected in the learning process. Articulation, it can be done either vertical or horizontal. In vertical articulations, contents are arranged from level to level, grade to grade, so that the content in a lower level is connected to the next level. For example, in horizontal articulation happens at the same time like social studies in grade 6 is related to science in grade 6. Then comes the balance. After every concept, the last most important dimension which we have to focus is the balance. The equitable assignment of content, time, experiences, the other elements of established balance is needed in curriculum design. Too much or too little of these elements may be disastrous to any good curriculum. Now, the approaches to curriculum design. There are two main approaches. The third one is the experience-centered humanistic. We are not talking about that because our main concern is the subject-oriented as well as the learning-oriented. Under subject-centered, we have subject design, subject discipline, correlation, broad field. Whereas in the learner-centered, we'll mainly focus on this because the Indian curriculum has to be focused and reformed on the learner-centered. Under learner-centered, the learner is the center of the educative process, which emphasizes is very strong in elementary level. The child-centered design anchored on the needs and interests of the child. One learns by doing learning, or learner engages with her environment. Designing and developing curriculum in Indian schools. How we need to design? What factors would we consider when designing the curriculum, Indian curriculum, and why? The most important is the purpose. What is the purpose of our curriculum? We will focus on 6 steps of designing the Indian curriculum. It reflects the Indian values, context, pedagogical approach, needs, etc. Then comes the entitlement and enrichment. After discussion on the purpose to design curriculum, we need to set up pupil entitlement. It should explain how we intend to enrich the curriculum, like extracurricular activities, etc. Under breadth, we will discuss, we'll arrange the curriculum content into range of engaging themes and projects. Whereas in teaching narrative, after organizing long-term plan, teachers need to plan the details of how they will deliver each project. Teaching narrative should be clearly sequenced and cohesive. Now, identification of the resources are required to bring curriculum to life and enhance its coherence. Last is the review and evaluate. No curriculum by this stage is established, and next step is gradually review its impact on teaching and learning and some adaptations and changes. At this stage, we can identify continued professional development and curriculum support needs for staff. Now we will talk about why Indian curriculum need an overhaul. And in Indian, adolescent learning results have steadily deteriorated over the last decade, despite a rise in the budgetary education, spending over 10 years by the government. That is, it is from 3.6 lakh crore to 4.6 lakh crore. As per 2006 to 2016, you can see that the huge amount is invested, but still it is deteriorating. The pandemic especially has, in the last 1 year, has contributed to move towards online education, and these developments may have a further impact. This year's ASER 2020 study reveals that 5.3% of the rural children aged 6 to 10 compared to 1.8% in 2018 have not attended schools. It is worth reviewing the situation before the pandemic to better understand and contextualize the lockdown implications on school education in India. Third, the few contemporary educational reforms which were taken earlier, which were adapted earlier, now they are creating a lot of problems. They need to be the abolition of the pass-fail policy till 8th standard. This is actually quite disastrous, because when a child is aware that he is never going to stop in any class or never going to fail, then child may take it very casually and gradually. It is a somewhat sensitive issue to explore because it has both its own merits and its shortcomings. Now, what are the main problems which are faced in implementing educational reforms in India? Because there is no detention policy, the secondary education dropout rates have always been huge. Another issue is 85% of schools in India are in rural areas. 75% of all teachers, they are placed in rural areas. Massive inequalities in the overall education system can be seen, because in urban we have a different system, different pattern, whereas in the rural areas it is completely different. Better training of educators is required so that we can have a better system as per the better globalized trends and the developments. Evaluation system should not be mark oriented. It should be completely waved off from the mark oriented. The main focus of the children goes on only scoring marks. Lack of infrastructure, definitely, because there are more number of schools in rural areas, the infrastructure is lacking, and most of the schools are being governed and taken care of by either government or allied government schools. National education policy as per 2020. Under this, the new policy aims for universalization of education from preschool to secondary level with 100% gross enrollment ratio in school education by 2030. And it aims to raise gross enrollment ratio in higher education to 50% by 2025. It seems to be a good planning. The National Education Policy 2020 will bring back 2 crore out of school children into the mainstream. Earlier, we had a 10+2 structure of the schooling curriculum. Now we have 5+3+3+4. 5 stands for the age group of 3 to 8. 3 years stand for age group 8 to 11. Then 3 stands for age group 11 to 14. And under 4 years, it comes 14 to 18 years children. Policy aims to achieve 100% youth and adult literacy, because by 2025, the 40% of adolescent population of the world will be Indians. Vocational education. This play a very important role, because if a child has a skill-based knowledge, then the child can think of future for doing some or the other good jobs. The vocational education has been integrated with the academic education, so that those who are not fond of the academics, they can have a skill-based knowledge and they can plan their future life based on that. Then improvement in the gross enrollment ratio. As per this data, we can see that the GER at elementary, secondary, senior secondary level, by providing universal access to schooling for all children in the age group of 3 to 18 years by 2030. And one can see from the table and data that the percentage of children enrollment in the schools in 2009 to 9-10, we had 75%, and by 2018-19, it is 87%. Now, schools are provided by the sports equipments. In 2018-19, you can see through the bar that the number of sports equipments were provided less. By 2019-20, they are provided quite much. Then provided library facilities. The provision of library grant for the government schools to inculcate reading habit among children of all ages. The reading habits has to be instilled in the young age. Providing free textbook to all children in government and government aided schools, and free uniform to the girls of scheduled caste and scheduled tribe, and boys of below poverty line in government schools. There is one more very interesting thing which is being developed, is developing energized e-textbook with QR code tagged with content for anytime, anywhere access to digital learning. Because if a child cannot have access of computer, at least the child can have access of mobile. Now, these are some very good suggestions which can be implemented in the innovation. These are innovation suggestions for 21st century education to bring a major reform. Whenever we talk of the educational reforms, it can never be only by the government. There are some smaller reforms at our own level as teachers, at our own level as leaders or educators we can bring about in our own classes. They can be like the open up lesson. Now, what is open up lesson? Here the students stand to gain a lot from more personalized lessons and greater control over their own learning. But they are not only ones, the implications of teachers are also exciting. They become freer to take on different roles, including mentor, coach, designer, or projects that highlight the real world relevance of subject material. The second is the think outside the rigid classroom box. This we have been hearing for centuries or for decades here, but the concern is that think out of box doesn't mean that whatever taught in classroom we have to think outside that. Here we have to think about the collaborative problem solving, IT, information and economic literacy. These all need to be bring into the classroom. The role of teachers can no longer be to impart knowledge, but to guide, discuss, and of course, measure the progress of students so that they know when more support is needed. Get personal. Mostly when we have a large size of classrooms, we just create a connect between the knowledge and the students. We do not try to create a personal connect. Here, the teacher need to create a personal connect, because when one teacher is presenting material to a large class and then personally gauging how much of it each of them has learned to apply, there is not enough time to provide each student with a course of learning tailored in uniquely to suit them. So here we have to create it. Then comes the tap into students digital expertise. Instead of we teaching them, we can. Today, students are natural investigators, researchers, synthesizers of information. These skills can be put to powerful use in our own classrooms. The day of IT or the discrete subject taught as designated times in computer labs or numbered. Get real with projects. Instead of discussing projects only on the software, only on the blackboard, here we can give the hands-on activity where the young people are learning by carrying out projects that require them to do the research and across different subject boundaries. We need not to give the project specifically for the physics. We can give a project where all different integration of the subjects and collaboration of the subjects can be done. How help and expect teacher to be student. Instead of we taking a lead, we have to accept that we are a mentor and we are dealing with the young minds. They need to be resilient learners, able to make mistakes and learn from those mistakes, to be independent learners, willing to take ownership of their learning instead of we being taking those initiatives, ready to use different learning strategies to navigate and adapt to a rapidly changing world. If students are to achieve this, they must have effective teachers of learning who fully understand the process of learning, and the best way for teachers to achieve this to become learner themselves. Measure what matters. Now, instead of every time measuring the testing, we need to have assessment which is mandatory and which really matters. What we choose to assess inevitably determines what is taught, and how we access it influences how we teach. Therefore, the question that every educational system must ask is, are we assessing what we want students to be able to do once they finish school? This is a very important question to think over. Work with families. This is something, here we need to break barriers and we need to work with the families to grow a better citizen and their children. There is a strong association between family involvement and the student achievements. Many schools are recognizing the need of work with parents in a variety of ways to help their students be the best they can be, and some schools are going much further than this. Identify and give power to the students. Now, we have realized with time that some of the students, they have better knowledge, better understanding, better leadership skills. So there, the student voice that is giving students the opportunity to have a say in issues that affect them has come a long way since the experiments of a few schools, like it was done in 1970s Some of the schools were taking lead where students used to organize the programs and workshops and functions. Now, many schools now boast students-led school councils, for example, and one might argue that the students have more control over their education than ever before. Basic concern of this reform in Indian education is bring innovation and bring more of project-based learning. Thank you.